Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Simple English Talks. I'm so excited you're joining us today because we have a really fun and useful topic for you. Whether you're a beginner or an intermediate learner, this episode is going to help you feel more confident right away.
Hey there, wonderful people. It's so great to have you here with us again. I was actually just thinking about this topic before we started recording, and honestly, I use these phrases almost every single day, so you're going to love this one.
That's right, and you know what I love most about today's topic? It's perfect for real life, not just for studying, but for actually talking to people around you. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to have natural holiday conversations in English with confidence.
Today we're talking about holiday conversations, how to talk about holidays, plans, travel, and all the exciting things that happen during special times of the year. We'll teach you vocabulary, phrases, and real examples you can use immediately. So, tell us in the comments, do you have a holiday coming up soon? Or is there a holiday you love the most?
Oh, I love reading your comments, so please do write to us. And before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscribe button for Simple English Talks so you never miss an episode. We post new content regularly to help your English grow. Now let's get started.
Great! Let's go into our first section where we teach you the basics of holiday conversation. Trust me, these are the building blocks for everything else today, so pay close attention.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. When we talk about holidays in English, we use a few very simple and very common sentence structures. The most basic one is, I'm going to plus place, or I'm going to plus activity. For example, I'm going to the beach, or I'm going to visit my family. It's that simple. Subject plus I'm going to plus your plan.
And here are some more great examples you can use right now. I'm going to travel to the mountains. I'm going to spend time with my friends. I'm going to rest at home this holiday. See how easy that is? You just plug in your own information and you have a perfect sentence.
I love that structure because it works for everyone. For me personally, I always say, I'm going to eat too much food during the holidays. And that is 100% true. So don't be afraid to be funny or personal when you use these sentences. That's what makes real conversation interesting.
Now, how do we ask someone about their holiday plans? It's very natural to use the question, what are you doing for the holidays? Or, do you have any plans for the holiday? These are the questions you'll hear native speakers ask all the time. So let's practice. What would you say if someone asked you, what are you doing for the holidays? Pause the video, think about it, and write your answer in the comments.
Another really useful structure is talking about what you did after a holiday. We use past tense for this. For example, I went to my grandparents' house. We had a big family dinner. It was so much fun. These three sentences are short, simple, and completely natural. Can you hear how easy they sound?
And the negative form is just as simple. I didn't travel this holiday. I stayed home. We didn't have a big party this year. I didn't go anywhere, but I really enjoyed the rest. The negative is just, I didn't plus verb. So you have the positive and the negative covered. Can you write one positive and one negative sentence about your last holiday? Put them in the comments. We'd love to read them.
So to quickly summarize this section, use I'm going to for future plans. Use simple past like I went or we had for past experiences. And use I didn't for the negative. These are your basic holiday conversation tools.
Perfect. And remember, you don't need complicated sentences to have a great conversation. Simple, clear sentences are always the best place to start. Let's keep going.
Now let's build on what we just learned and talk about how to describe your holiday feelings and experiences. Because it's not just about what you did, it's also about how you felt. And this is where your English becomes really expressive and interesting to listen to.
Yes, this is one of my favorite parts of holiday conversation. You can use adjectives like amazing, relaxing, exhausting, exciting, peaceful, or disappointing. The simple structure is it was plus adjective. For example, the trip was amazing. The family dinner was really relaxing. The journey was exhausting but worth it. These phrases sound completely natural.
And here's a real-life situation. Imagine you just came back from a holiday and your colleague asks, "How was your holiday?" You can say, "It was wonderful, thanks. We went to the coast and the weather was perfect." Or maybe, "Honestly, it was a bit tiring. We traveled a lot, but I'm happy we went." See how both answers are natural and honest?
Now, one thing I want to highlight is the difference between formal and informal language here. In a casual conversation with a friend, you'd say, "Oh my gosh, it was so good. I had the best time." But in a slightly more formal situation, like talking to your manager at work, you'd say, "It was a really enjoyable break. I feel quite refreshed." Same meaning, different level of formality. First, think about who you're talking to. Second, adjust your vocabulary. Third, keep the sentence structure simple in both cases.
Let's do a quick practice activity. I'll describe a holiday experience, and you tell me what adjective fits best. Ready? We woke up at 4 in the morning, drove for 8 hours, and the hotel was fully booked. What adjective would you use for that experience? I think most of you would say exhausting or disappointing. Write your answer in the comments. It's great practice.
And don't forget, you can combine two feelings with but. For example, it was exhausting but really exciting. Or, it was disappointing at first, but we found a better hotel and it turned out amazing. That little word but adds so much to your storytelling and makes your English sound much more fluent. So keep that tip in mind.
One more tip. Use especially to make your sentences more specific and interesting. I loved the holiday, especially the food. It was a great trip, especially the last day when we went hiking. That one word makes your story so much richer and more vivid.
Great job, everyone. In this section, we covered describing feelings with adjectives, adjusting formal and informal language, combining feelings with but, and using especially to add detail. These tools will make your holiday conversations so much more interesting and natural.
All right, let's look at another really important part of holiday conversation, making and responding to invitations. Holidays are all about spending time with people, and knowing how to invite someone or respond to an invitation is a super useful skill. The basic structure for an invitation is, would you like to plus verb, or do you want to plus verb?
For example, would you like to come to our holiday dinner? Do you want to join us for the celebrations? Would you like to spend the weekend with us? These are polite, warm, and very natural ways to invite someone. And the great thing is, you can use these in almost any holiday situation.
Now, how do you accept an invitation politely? You can say, "I'd love to, thank you so much." Or, "That sounds wonderful, count me in." Or, "Absolutely, I wouldn't miss it." These responses are enthusiastic and show that you're excited to join. They sound natural and friendly, which is exactly what you want during the holidays.
And what about declining an invitation politely? This is really important because saying no in English can feel uncomfortable, but there's a kind way to do it. You can say, "I'm so sorry, I already have plans." Or, "That's so kind of you, but unfortunately I can't make it." Or, "I'd love to, but I have a family commitment that day." You see the pattern? Always thank the person first, then explain briefly, and keep your tone warm.
Let's do a mini practice right now. I'll be the host and give an invitation, and you respond out loud, either accept or decline. Ready? Here we go. "Hey, we're having a little New Year's party at our place. Would you like to come?" Pause right here, say your answer out loud, and then press play again. Speaking out loud is one of the best ways to improve your fluency, so please don't skip this step.
How did that feel? If you accepted, maybe you said something like, "Oh, yes, I'd love to. What time should I come?" And if you declined, maybe, "That sounds lovely, but I'm going to be out of town. Have a great time." Both are perfect. What matters is that you responded naturally and kindly. Write your response in the comments. We want to see what you came up with.
One more tip about invitations. When you invite someone, you can add a detail to make it more appealing. Instead of just, "Do you want to come over?" you can say, "Do you want to come over? I'm making homemade lasagna, and there will be lots of fun people." That extra detail makes the invitation warmer and more exciting. It's a small change, but it makes a big difference.
So to review this section, use "would you like to" or "do you want to invite someone. Accept with enthusiasm using phrases like "I'd love to." And when you decline, always be warm and thankful first. These skills will help you navigate holiday social situations with ease and confidence.
Okay, let's talk about common mistakes. And I want to say right away, both of us have made these mistakes too. So don't feel embarrassed at all. Making mistakes is a completely normal and important part of learning English. The important thing is that we learn from them together.
The first common mistake is using the wrong tense. Many learners say, "I am going to the beach yesterday." That's not correct because yesterday is past, but "I am going" is present. The correct sentence is, "I went to the beach yesterday." Remember, for things that already happened, always use past tense. Went, had, saw, visited, ate. These are your past tense friends.
The second mistake is forgetting the article the or a. For example, learners sometimes say, "We had dinner at restaurant." But the correct sentence is, "We had dinner at a restaurant." Or, if it's a specific restaurant, "We had dinner at the restaurant near the park." It's a small word, but native speakers notice when it's missing. So always ask yourself, do I need a or the here?
The third mistake is saying, "I am very enjoy" instead of "I really enjoy" or "I enjoy it very much." Enjoy is a verb, so we don't put very before it the way we do with adjectives. You can say, "I really enjoyed it" or "I enjoyed it very much." Both are correct. But "I am very enjoy," that's not right. The correct structure is subject plus verb plus adverb or extra phrase.
And here's one I used to make all the time. I used to say, "We made a party." But in English, you don't make a party, you have a party. Or you throw a party. So the correct sentences are, "We had a big holiday party," or "She threw an amazing New Year's party." Isn't that funny? Throw a party sounds a bit wild, but that's just how English works.
So let's quickly review the corrections. Wrong. "I am going there yesterday." Right. "I went there yesterday." Wrong. "We had dinner at restaurant." Right. "We had dinner at a restaurant." Wrong. "I am very enjoy the holiday." Right. "I really enjoyed the holiday." Wrong. "We made a party." Right. "We had a party." Practice these corrections out loud and write one corrected sentence of your own in the comments.
And remember, every mistake you make is actually a learning opportunity. The best English speakers in the world were once beginners who made lots of mistakes. Keep going, keep trying, and keep speaking. You're doing amazing.
That's so true. Don't let the fear of making mistakes stop you from speaking. Mistakes show that you're trying, and that's what matters most. You've got this.
All right, it's practice time. This is one of my favorite parts of every episode. We're going to do